Hi, welcome to our channel StatsMagic. So presenting a NET syllabus. So here I would like to quickly tell about hypothesis testing, especially type 1 error and type 2 error. See, in our channel all about hypothesis testing, 2 videos are there. You can check that. I'll be giving links in the description. Please check. There will be detailed what is population, what is sample. So from the basic level, what is hypothesis testing and the 7 steps in hypothesis testing I have been did. Now here I am telling about type 1 error and type 2 error because many times it is asked in the examination point of view, because always it is a multiple choice questionable kind of content. So let's see. So this table box is very important here. Hypothesis testing. So there is something called as null hypothesis and alternative hypothesis. Null hypothesis is like H0 and alternative hypothesis like HA or H1 it is represented. So now we please remember only H0 which is null hypothesis. What happens when null hypothesis is true or when null hypothesis H0 is not true or false? See, careful listen here. Here we are accepting. That means failure to reject, not rejecting. Failure to reject or do not reject is same. Accept is also same, but usually we go with do not reject and failure to reject only. You can understand it as accept also, because why we do not say accept and why we say only failure to reject or do not reject, there is a reason for that. When we go deep into hypothesis testing, we will know that, but now it is not important. You can remember it as accept also, because some students if they remember as do not reject, failure to reject and reject, they may confuse. So they are good if they remember like accept. So whichever way is comfortable to you, go with that, because you putting the correct answer in the multiple choice in the exam, that is important. Okay, anyway, here do not reject or failure to reject or accept, all these are same only. Here reject, here we are entirely rejecting this. See, when we are rejecting, so okay, first see the right ones. H0 is true, null hypothesis is true. So what we should do? When it is true, we have to accept, that means do not reject. Okay. So H0 null hypothesis is true and we are not rejecting, accepting. It is true, so it is accepting. That's why it is right, correct decision. So I can write it as a correct decision here, or simply correct. This is correct. There is no error here. Whereas here also H0 is false, that means null hypothesis is false. So when it is false, we should not accept. When it is false, we have to reject. So reject. This is the reject box. Reject, H0 is false. So this is also correct decision, right? It is false, H0 is not true, it is false. So we have to reject it, reject. So it is right decision. Whereas see these two boxes, first go to reject. Rejecting null hypothesis, this is also null hypothesis H0, this is also null hypothesis H0. See, always remember when we are talking about type 1 error and type 2 error, we are talking about null hypothesis only. Okay. See, rejecting H0 is true, null hypothesis is true, but we are rejecting it. It is true, but oh no, it is not true, we are rejecting it. That means we are making an error. Now that is called as type 1 error. Please remember, rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true. Now what we have to do when there is confusion like type 1 error, type 2 error, means you have to remember only one. If you remember only one and stick to that, second one obviously you will know. If you try to remember both, that may lead to confusion, not for everybody, but for many students that may lead to confusion. So remember only one. So remember first type 1 error only. What is type 1 error? Rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true, or we can say it rejecting the true null hypothesis, rejecting the true null hypothesis, or rejecting the null hypothesis H0 when it is true. True means we should not reject, but we are rejecting. That's why it is the type 1 error. It is an error and called as type 1 error. Okay. Next, whereas type 2 error, see here H0 is false, null hypothesis is false. That means we have to reject it. But what we are doing? We are failure to reject, not rejecting, accepting. Okay, not rejecting the false null hypothesis. That's why it is called as type 2 error. Now see, rejecting H0 when it is true, that is a type 1 error. P of type 1 error, that means probability of making type 1 error is called as alpha. It is also called as significance level. This alpha symbol, it is called as significance level. It is the probability of type 1 error. So probability of type 1 error is symbolized by, it is given by the symbol alpha, also called as significance level. Okay, there is high chances that it will be asked in the multiple choice questions. Okay, next type 2 error, as we said, not rejecting the null hypothesis, not rejecting the null hypothesis even though it is false, but we are not rejecting, it is a type 2 error. Now probability of type 2 error is represented by beta, represented by the symbol beta. Okay, it looks like B only, but a slight edge will be there. So anyway, this is alpha, this is beta symbol. Now let us see an example of type 1 error and type 2 error, practical example. Type 1 error is called false positive. See, this is the type 1 error, no? This is false positive. Okay, H0 is true here. This is called, but we are rejecting, false positive. Type 2 error is the false negative. So always remember, both are false only. Error means false. That means we are making an error. Whereas type 1 error is false positive, type 2 error is false negative. That means test result is positive. Here positive means test result is positive. Example, a patient having a coronavirus, but actually you don't, or you means the patient here. Patient having coronavirus. Patient having coronavirus, actually the patient does not have coronavirus, but patient having coronavirus, why we are saying, because the test shows it, test result shows. Test result says or shows, we can say. Here test result shows, here also test result shows. Test result is showing that there is coronavirus, but actually that patient or the person who has diagnosed, not patient, the person who has diagnosed, the test is showing corona, having corona, but actually the person doesn't have coronavirus. That's why it is called false positive. That's why it is a type 1 error and false positive. So see, remember, positive means test result is positive. Always remember, positive means test result is positive, not if it is having coronavirus means, oh yeah, I have coronavirus, it is the negative news. Oh, I do not have coronavirus, it is the positive news. For us, for the persons, it is positive negative news, that is different. But what is for the test? What is the test done? What is the diagnosis done? Scanning, diagnosis, whatever the lab test done, whether it is positive or negative. If there is coronavirus, it is called as positive. Result is showing coronavirus, it is there. That is the positive result. It may be negative to the patient, negative to the persons concerned, but result is positive. So please remember that. Positive negative means don't take it like to the persons, what it is a good news or bad news, not like that. Good news, positive news, bad news, negative news, not like that. Please take it as a test result. Test result is positive, but actually you don't have, actually it isn't. That's why it's called false positive. Here negative also, test result is showing negative, no coronavirus, but actually the person is having the coronavirus. That's why it is a false negative. Okay, see, if the test result is showing coronavirus and also the person having the coronavirus, then there is no error, and there is no this false positive, there is no error. Similarly, when the test result is showing that there is no coronavirus, that means negative, test is negative, no coronavirus, and person diagnosed also having no coronavirus, test also showing no coronavirus, then it is proper only, it is correct only, no error. Whereas when both do not match, then we call it as error. So positive result is there. Okay, test is, I mean the positive result means test is showing positive, but actually the person that is positive means having the disease or having the, if it is diagnosed for virus, having the virus or having the disease or having the infection, whatever it is. If that is positive, having the infection, but the person actually does not have. So result is positive, does not have, false positive. Whereas the test result is showing negative, that means no disease, no infection, or no coronavirus, no virus or whatever. Test is showing negative, but the person is having, that's why it is false. So that's why it is false negative. Okay. Whereas false positive is a type 1 error. Just remember it. Remember one, another one automatically comes. So positive means test positive, but it is error means false positive only, because that is not positive actually, but the test is showing positive. So false positive, type 1 error. False negative, type 2 error. Okay, probability of making type 1 error, alpha, also called significance level. Probability of making type 2 error, beta, represented by beta. So type in hypothesis testing, type 1 error means, in hypothesis testing, type 1 error means rejecting null hypothesis, rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true. The null hypothesis is true, but we are rejecting it. So rejecting true null hypothesis or rejecting null hypothesis when it is true, it is called type 1 error. Whereas type 2 error is not rejecting the null hypothesis when it is false. Okay, not rejecting H0, not rejecting null hypothesis when it is false, or failure to reject also. Not rejecting also, we can say it as a failure to reject H0 when it is false, or accepting H0 when it is false. Generally we do not use the word accepting H0, but you can remember for understanding purpose, you can remember not reject, failure to reject means accept. Okay, accepting H0 when it is false, we should not accept it, but accepting H0 when it is false. Okay, but in the question papers and all in the subject books, if you read, we generally do not see, if it is written by a professional and highly expert on the subject, they do not use the word accept, they only use not rejecting or failure to reject H0 when it is false. Type 2 error. Okay, clear? If not, watch it again and again or comment with your doubts. That's it. Be careful with this, it will be asked. Just try to remember this. Watch it 2 to 3 times, you will get it. Yeah, thank you.